cool. Pop that. Exactly. All right, share screen, desktop 1. There. So, move over there. So just kind of check back in quick. We have our, I don't need that anymore. So in the actual application I did, so I did add a couple things that you might want to make sure you add to yours as well. If you didn't do by default, you want to make sure you have your gitignore and add in the config. Now, if you forgot to do those things, remember how to fix it. If you create, so I added this actually because we don't have a config file yet. So we're actually going to do that today. So to confirm, all I did to switch, and this is I believe in the actual end of the video from yesterday that I uploaded. I think I'm pretty sure I recorded this part. All I did was in the db.js file, I took the actual secured items we want, the database user, password, host, and database name, extracted those into a simple config folder called default.js with those 4 items. Pretty straightforward, right? And then I just added that file or folder to the gitignore. Now, reminder: if you did not create the gitignore and you did .git and you uploaded your item to GitHub, and that means your node modules folder has been sent to GitHub. When you create the .gitignore, your node modules is already being tracked, and so to fix it, you have to delete the node modules, add commit that, push it, then do npm install to bring the node modules folder back. But yet this time, since it's already a commit of node modules not being tracked, it will not be tracked again because now the gitignore says, hey, don't add this back. All right. If anyone struggles with that, ping out on the Slack channel, saying, hey, my node modules are still being tracked by Google, by Git, it's still being sent. I need help figuring out how to stop it from being tracked. All right. So that's the only thing I can point out there. I do remember that we didn't do a .gitignore together, but like I said, I'm pretty confident I did it at the end of the video after you all connected. Like I said, I believe I went a little over the video setting this up. So that's the only thing I did outside of the class, is add my gitignore and created this file. That's it. All right? That seems pretty straightforward, right? Any questions about that? Good. All right. So to review what our application currently does, only thing that works right now is that our gateway listens, but it doesn't actually respond in any way. On the other side, our auth server, run server, does actually work. It runs up, and right now we can, at least using Postman, send a new user and get it to connect. What I'm also going to do on my side is I probably should have saved that PSQL script line because it probably won't it's not in my history anymore, most likely. So let me pull that back up. Do that over here. Yep, there's mine. Connection strings. SQL. Got that. Get another item. And this, I'm just going to switch over to here. Not that we're going to be running many SQL scripts, but this is the best way for us to test if the data actually hit the database right now, is to be in PSQL and running scripts there. So I highly recommend you have one terminal running PSQL. And again, based on how SQL works, by having PSQL running doesn't mean your application can't connect. It allows for multiple connections. So to be aware of that. The database name, that one, copy. Right. I feel like it's in there twice. Fun. It is. The terminal is being a little weird. And what I'm going to do here this time, though, is I'm going to copy this command now and throw it in here, just so I have it saved somewhere. And the SQL file, it uses standard JavaScript kind of styling comments. So there you go. Okay. So that way, next time I can just quickly come back and grab that. Make my life a little easier. So if we do a select star from auth, semicolon, we can see we do still have the one user there that we created on Sunday.
Please 1 second.
Yep.
Copied it on database.sql, so when are you pushing it on GitHub, that is one. Or you have put
That would be. Yep, I do have this file being tracked. Thank you for that. I'm going to put that over here as a comment.
So I put it actually outside the directory in 1 second.
Yeah, I'll probably move it later.
I did that already.
Yeah. I'm putting that here for now, but I'm probably going to move it again later because it doesn't really fit right there. So I'm probably going to move it again, but I just wanted to get it. Yeah, I wanted to get it quickly out of here before I accidentally push it once. Because once you push it once, it's always there. Even if you do delete the file and then do an update, someone can go back to an old commit and see the files that are there. So once you push an item there, that file does exist, at least in the history. So if you ever upload a secret key or anything like that, change your secret key. Don't think like, oh, let me delete the file, push the deletion, and I'm safe. No, technically someone could go back through the historic commits, find the data. So once something secure has been pushed to GitHub, it's on GitHub permanently. So, thanks for catching that. Let's start from auth so we can see that that works. Let's go back to our server.js. We have our post file there. And so what should be the next thing we do with an authentication system? So we did the post, we create the authentication. What should probably be next? I guess I would wonder there, though, is there really any reason to list all the users? Or is that kind of dangerous to do? What was that? Yeah. Yeah, no, I would never actually do a get route for users and actually pull all the users unless I had that highly secured. So that to me is just asking for trouble. Creating a route here. What do all users want to do on an application? Log in, right? In order for me to view them, I still need to log in, right? So I would assume that the next thing we want to do is to do a login system. And so this is going to use, do we remember what package we brought in to do authentication with? We did bcrypt, but there was one more as well. We did do that one as well. Yep, JSON Web Token. So we're going to want to bring in that library as well. So let's go here. We have pool. Let's go ahead and also do const jwt equals require JSON Web Token. Wait a second. Get that in there. I'm also going to show something that I've done as well. So this is something I personally have done. I created a shortcut to quickly create this. Our details gives me this. This is a little item I like to add to my applications, which explains each route and what its purpose is and who can access it. Nice and easy. Now again, this depends on the company you're going for, whether or not they think the comments are good. If you know whether or not they think that, that's something to be careful of. I personally, when doing a project for a company, I think that this can look nice for me, so I like it. This at least explains to whoever's looking at my project very quickly at a glance how it looks. So how I set that up, by the way, if you're looking for it, I think it's called macros. Oh crap, I think I forgot the term. User snippets, that's it. They're snippets. So under user snippets, you need to give it the language you want to create the snippets for. You can just type in the language, so I'd have JavaScript, so if you type JavaScript, you'll get this thing right here. And here's my, where is it? This is the item right here that I created. Root details. Prefix are details, so this is what you type to get it to trigger. /t's are your tab, /t is a tab, and dollar are tabs, and then the dollar signs are where, when you hit tab when doing it, where the cursor will jump to. So cursor jumps here, jumps here, jumps here, jumps here, and then jumps here at the end when it's all done. Sound interesting? Yeah. So to see that in action, when I do it, I do our details. So let's see how my cursor starts on $1. This is going to be a post route. I tab again, it pops over to the next stop. There's going to be an API. We'll probably make this, we're not going to do API yet, so it's not an API route yet, so we're just going to remove that and do /login. For now, we might change that. Tab again, this is a route to authenticate login attempt. And then access, this usually is public, private, you can say admin only, microservice only. This is where you get to describe who has access to this. And so here I would put it is public because anyone can attempt to log in. It is a public point. Anybody can attempt to log in. So this is one of the ones where it might be a little confusing what the access item is, but it depends on who can actually access this route. And technically anybody can try to log in, right? You think about it. So this is one of the ones that you want to be a little careful on it. We would say, let's know, now what I want to see is someone else, or you guys, our details. What should I type here? Now that you see me do one example, what do I type here? Somebody give me the first part. Just the first piece. To explain this route. Hold on. Don't give me the whole thing. But yeah, post, and then the other part you already gave it, so post slash. Somebody else give me the description? Registering a new, I like that actually. Register a new user account. Someone else give me the access value. Everyone can register, right? Public, we don't need any sort of authentication token to do that. Tab again, we go there, and the idea behind the $0 is that it also exits me out of the snippet. So those can be very useful to help you create items that are easy for you to actually reuse. Like if I had to type that out by hand every single time, I probably wouldn't do it. But that is a nice format for setting things up. You can even use that in Spring Boot. It's fine in Java. So anyway, you do the app.post. What's going here? Pretty straightforward. Oh, yeah, just doing login. And we're going to keep the asynchronicity bit of it because we want to still do, we're going to still be pinging the database, right? So I'm going to keep that in. Async, rec res. And so this is us attempting to log in. So let's first, I'll kind of copy the concept of, so we're going to do a try. And my process going through this is that I always create the catch first. I actually don't do the try, because I'll sometimes forget to create the catch and then I get yelled at. So I do catch, error. And 9 times out of 10, you're just going to take the errors from something else and just reuse it. And this is completely valid syntax, so we're just going to take that back over and put it right back in. Again, if you're trying to build a muscle memory, it actually can be better for you to actually type it out so that you don't forget it when you go to some other project. But this is really kind of your standard error system. You print the error to the console so you can see it, and then you send it back using a similar format. And again, our format for microservices is to send back an error with the message errors. So in our calling item, we can check to say, hey, is there in the response data, is there an errors item? And if there is, we know this failed, regardless of the status code. Make sense? So this is kind of our flag to say that something went wrong. Good. All right. So again, this is kind of standard JavaScript stuff, so I don't want to dig too much into you guys on it. So we're going to just extract the data that we need for login, which is what? Username and password. I'm going to yank those out of the request.body. I forgot my equal sign. What do we need next? We need to check for that username because we can't compare the password against anything until we have the username. So we do need to go pull the username down. So let's do that next. So Next is, what was I doing? Right, here we go. What's that? Not if user, because again, I don't want to dig too deep into request validation on this because that's kind of standardized JavaScript stuff, and you want to be able to, you can look into validation yourself. My focus more is on just the behavior of the app itself. We might do some validations just to showcase how we can use that alongside SQL. So there is one type of validation I'm going to do here in the register user in a second that we're going to review, but I want to do not too much items. And honestly, we can actually validate username by just doing a select for it. Because if someone didn't give us a username, and so we're going to do a SQL select on empty string or null, it's going to come back with no username. So we can do the const user goes await. And again, we do pool.query. So looking at...
We did a let about if there are reasons to do const here.
Actually, no. I do like let more. Because again, we do know that whenever we get back a response, so what PQ does, the package we're using, whenever we do one of these, we always get the new user, we get SQL data, and then in a attribute called rows is where all the results of our query come into play. So that's why we do this. I do the let so I can just overwrite it with whatever was in row 0. The only reason I wouldn't use a const is if I was just going to take it and just send it directly and not actually do anything with the item. But yeah, since we're going to manipulate, or at least kind of compare the item, we're going to do a let again. So anyway. So does anyone know the query we want to use here? Anyone who's actually done some SQL investigation? So we do want to, yep. I'll bring this over here to help that out a bit so you can see the table. Ooh, hold on, slow down. Select what? Go ahead. Shaylee, I think you said some of it. So what are we doing? We need username definitely, but we also need one other thing, at least minimum, right?
Database?
Not database. We're already in database. So one thing we're going to create is we want to remember that later on, as a way to authenticate, we're going to need to be able to search the user again later. We might need the user credentials from the token. So one thing I tend to, or at least be able to search up the profile data based on the user's ID. And so one thing I would, the recommended minimum stuff would be the AID. We might want username. And we also might want password. Username is not necessarily needed. It might be nice to have. We definitely at minimum need this, right? The ID to reference later on, and a password to add to our JSON web token once we log them in. Make sense?
Wouldn't the username be needed for?
Well, like I said, if we could query based on AID. So as long as we have the ID of the user, we could query based on the AID. But that's why I said I personally do like to include the username as just I might need it later. I can't think of a reason for it now, but it just feels right to have it, right? Yeah, it seems like a useful item. So I'm going to select those. Password. What else do I need? Someone else. I think Shayla gave me the start point of this, so someone else give me the rest of it. From, yep. From auth. All right, someone else give me the next part. So right now we're going to grab, what users are we going to grab right now?
Yeah, so where username is equal to user.
There it is. Where username equals, now what am I putting here though? Or the placeholder, $1, username equals $1. Good. Yeah. And if we look back up here, how we do the query, what do I put? How do I send that value to $1? I got both items. We have to need to combine them. We need an array of username because no matter what, pool is always looking for an array here. Always looks for an array. And just if we have only one item, we only put one item in it. That's all. So, does that query make sense from anyone from those who didn't speak? Any questions about this syntax? Does the command make sense?
I have a question about the $1.
Go for it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, $, that's just something you need with the syntax.
Yes, that is the syntax that Postgres uses. The placeholder. Yeah. I would need to double check if this is also used by Postgres directly, like if you actually were to type in Postgres like down here, if you would use a $sign, but usually down here you wouldn't use a placeholder. So it actually might be specifically a PQ placeholder, something from JavaScript, because JavaScript likes to use $signs, remember, in string interpolation. So I'll double check on that to make sure if that's Postgres-based placeholders or if that actually is a PQ-based placeholder, and pool.query does the replacement for us. So I'll double check on that. If that's, yeah, that's actually a good question. I never really dug. I actually haven't really dug too deep into who decided to use $1, $2, $3, if that was Postgres or if that's just the Node package manager doing it. I've seen it before. That's why I wasn't too shocked by it. I've seen the $1, $2, so I want to say it is Postgres's placeholder, but I will double check before I say it definitely is. So I don't want to lie.
Yeah, one more thing just I would like to add. Is it not for security, right? It is for security, like for preventing the SQL injection attacks.
Exactly. Good catch, yes. This helps to prevent SQL injection attacks. From my understanding, yes, this is what actually gets sent, and then this gets sanitized through the system. So it'll check for any sort of bad characters and parse them into safe values and stuff. So good call. Yep. Any other callouts on the SQL stuff before we move forward? Good. Right, so now we have this. So how do we want to check to see if we actually got a user back? How would we check that? If we refer back to this to see how this worked, how can we check to see that the username was a valid username? We could try row 0 not null, but is there another thing we could also do? Well, user would not be null, because user is always going to give us a response back from pool.query just with SQL information.
So user equal to username.
Not quite. We need to know if user had anything. And so if we try to do username on users, we do user.rows 0.username, and there was no response. This would actually be a username is not a property of not a property of undefined. We get the undefined error because user 0 would be undefined, right? I'm sorry, rows 0 wouldn't have a value. There wouldn't be a value there. So this would get back as an undefined item. So what is the way to know whether or not we have a row 0? So yeah, 100%, dot length. And we can just do a not. If not, dot length, if there's no length to this, we're just going to simply do a response dot status 404. JSON, we can do errors. I'm going to do in here the status of profile. So that way if our front end is looking for any specific key for message, we'll display to the front end. We can do that. We're going to do profile user not found. That seems straightforward enough. And just to be sure that nothing else happens, we can add the return here, just so it doesn't move any lines farther, so we don't have to do an if-else. We want the code to just stop there. Now that we know we have a user, what can we do next to make our life a little easier? Yeah, we can also just, I would like to do this next because I don't want to have to keep typing user rows. So user equal user dot rows 0, just to save my typing. Is this a necessity? Do I have to do this? No. Yeah, that's the only reason I'm doing it. Saving my life. So now what do we want to do? So we now have the user profile that matches the username. What's next?
Take the password.
To compare the passwords, right? How do we do that? How do we compare the passwords? Well, JWT didn't decrypt, didn't set up the password. How did we secure the password again? Yeah, bcrypt did that, right? So bcrypt would have to do the comparator. And bcrypt does have a method called compare. Does anyone know anything special about compare? It does. Take a look what it says. No. This is it. Give it the two things we're trying to compare against. The non-encrypted version comes first, and then the encrypted version that we just pulled from the database. And we'll compare the two to see if they're the same. The trick to this, though, is that it is not it is a promise-based function. So it does have an asynchronous item to this. So what do we have to do with it? Yep. So const is match await bcrypt compare. So we will wait for this to finish until we move on. Do we get the response? What next? Kind of, yeah. We just got to do an if is match, right? If is match, we want to do stuff. Oops, what did I just do? Hit the wrong button. That. If is match, we actually want to create our token. Yep, good. So let's go ahead and do const. So again, to create the JWT token, we need a payload of the data that the JSON Web Token will contain. So what data do we want in the payload? I want to put the password in here. Yeah, this is the ID user.authid and the username user.username. That's all we really need in our payload, right? That's good. I'm going to do... Oh, right. I'm sorry, my notes. I had authid in my notes. Right, thank you. Yeah. To save you guys from bad typing, usually I'm not doing this entirely from scratch, but my notes are different sometimes. Anyway, AID, and then... All right, so now we want to actually create the token. So who does our tokening again? Now we do JSON Web Token. Yep, JSON Web Token has a method called sign, and we're going to do what with it? What does it say? We give it what first? Yeah, give the payload, and then the next thing we need to give it is our secret or private key, so our secret or key, as we call it. Should I type that here? And what is our secret or key? Whatever I want, right? Yes, whatever I want. So this is, of course, something we want to keep secure. So let's head over to, I'm going to bring it over to my default file. If you haven't created this yet and you don't want to worry about it, you can put it in the main file now. Just do not submit it to GitHub until you do this. So I'm going to put it here, my secret or key. I'm going to do it as career devs dragons. You guys and ladies. Representing of the people here, career devs dragons. Of course, now that I have that there, to use that I need to do what? Yep. So const. Remember, we're not using Webpack or anything here, so we have to be very careful with how much ES6 we use. The import item is definitely a Babel-based command, so you want to do require. So const, I can do secret key equals require. Yeah, one more back. Right? Oh no, it's in the same directory. Slash config slash default. Here I can do dot secret or key, so I don't bring in all the keys into this file. I just bring the one key in. Not bad, right? So one of the good things about require is that require can do this. I don't think import can. At least I've not been successful in it. So it's one of the things about require. Require will actually bring in the object, and you can use instant dot notation on the object right away. You don't have to bring it in and then access it from the item you bring in. So pop back down to line 62, and now we can just give it the secret key. What does it say next? Options. Well, I don't think we need any options. And the last thing it says, what does the first word here say? So what does that tell us we need? Yeah, we need to do a wait again. Go ahead. Shoot. Before I answer that, can anyone tell me why it's not user.rows? And what line? Line 52, right? That's why I tell people, ask questions right away so you're not just sitting there like, this isn't working. So please, yes, ask those questions right away. Don't hold off on them. So yeah, the last thing we're saying is this says asynchronicity, or synchronously does it, so we do want to have an await on this. We want to make sure we wait for it to finish. So again, we're going to do a const token equals await to get our token. All right, all good. And just for the record, I do actually personally, now that I think about it, I put in a blank one because one of the main options of jwt.sign is expires in, and during my testing stage, I don't want any keys expiring. So I like having the tokens be valid indefinitely for me, just so I don't have to worry about continuously logging back in. So yeah, expires in, and you just give it a time frame of how long it takes to expire. Yep. By doing this, I'm telling it I'm giving no options. Do not set a default expires in. Don't set expires in for me. That's all. Yep. Just to make my life a little easier and not have to constantly keep logging back in. So now, mind you, that does mean that at some point you do have to validate that the token is invalid and has expired. So you do have to check on that during your auth method. So.
Sorry, the JSON web token itself is
Right.
valid.
If you set an expired time, that means the JSON web token can expire and be old and be considered old.
But
So.
it doesn't have a default. It's just if you don't, it does have a default, but if you don't do that.
I know one version it did. Does it still have it? I don't know. I'm not 100% confident, but at one point it did. So I just do that by default. Yeah, I'm not messing with it. I think it does have a default, but just to be honest, if they have changed it recently to say no more default, because I see a lot of people do that, they don't like it. Unless you're doing it, like, again, some of you are working with financial data, so showing the usability of an expired in system in your system would probably be good for authentication, for logins. Since a lot of you are doing financial data-based applications for your capstone project, I personally would probably, actually, no, I am going to tell you, you want to do some sort of expiration system.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone here use a mobile banking app, and whenever they use it, they get a ping constantly saying your session's about to expire?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So it's a common practice in the financial industry to expire keys and expire authentication. So most likely, I'm going to say it's something you want in your system. You don't have to enable it for while you're building it, but at some point before you submit it to the client, the company, put it in there. Show that you understand security. Security is huge for these kind of companies. So definitely think about your application in a secure way as well. So got that. What's the next step?
Redirect the user to
Yeah. Well, we can just send back the token, right? We're done. We'll let the front end deal with redirects, but yeah, we're done with this. We can just reply back with the token now. So we can do response.json token. And I'll put it in the bracket to use the ES6 kind of deconstructing system of if the token, if the key name and the variable are the same, I can just type the variable name and it will automatically do this. So don't forget that shortcut. If this is your object, you just have to do that. It'll do the same thing. Nice little shortcut there. Yeah. Yeah. That's a JavaScript little shortcut there. If your key name and your variable are the same, just type the variable and it will auto-generate the key. It's a nifty little thing. That's why I didn't have to do anything here. Error is error, and this is an object, so it's all set. Yeah. So that looks good for our login system, right? let's test it out. Oh, there's one thing actually. One more thing. So we have the is match right here. We went through. What are we missing? Right. Well, if it doesn't match, so I'm going to put here returns, because again, I don't like if else's if I don't need them. So I don't need to do an else. So I'm just going to do a return there, and then just do, if I get here, I know that the password match failed, so I can do a return response.json. Sorry, response.status 401, I believe it is, for unauthorized or something like that, or invalid.
Invalid?
I think so, or bad or something.
Because forbidden is 400.
Yeah, I think so. And we're not really forbidden, we're just it's an invalid request or something like invalid. Not really not authorized, but it was just an invalid.
Valid credentials.
Yeah. What was that, 400 or 401?
401.
Okay, good. All right, cool. Trying to remember them is not always easy, but yeah, we'll do that one, and we'll do JSON errors. And again, I'm going to do, wait a minute. Yeah, errors. Actually,
Return that as an errors object.
yeah, we're doing an errors object, and I'm actually going to change this. This doesn't really make sense. It's not really a profile error. It's really a login error, right? Do login. That way we can do the same thing here. Login, same tag. Password invalid. Sound good? Does anybody have any issues with line 50 and line 66? Or do those look good to you? Sure. Oh, well, there's that. Anything else? Or we like them?
Wait, these are lines 50 and
50 and 66 for mine. Yours might be different depending on your spacing. Buzz, buzz. How so?
Like if return, it might just be reference, but some back in the video,
Oh, you're just saying change the look of it, no actual changing the code. Okay.
I don't know if it's
Yeah. So I'm going to say the code is 100% fine. But again, I just mentioned that we probably didn't think about security. If you think about it, what's bad about this message here? I think Evan,
The user definite information.
we're giving them, and what if we give them this error? What does that tell the person?
yeah, you're just telling them what information specifically they're missing.
And so yeah, so if we get this, we know that that username is not a valid username. But then if I get this, what does that tell me?
You have the username right.
I have a valid username. Yes.
And or password.
Or just do this.
Invalid.
Invalid login. Something vague. Not what is wrong, but just that something is wrong. Be very careful on your error messages too. Error messages to the user should be somewhat vague, enough to get them know that they need to try again, but not enough where they can make assumptions about where a hacker or a developer could make assumptions about your system. That's what you got to be careful of. WordPress, I don't know, actually Milo, you might remember this from the New York trip. WordPress does that where you can just type in usernames and it will tell you whether or not the username is valid or not. This exact problem is a part of WordPress, which is a widely used system. So the fact that that's a system in there is bad. No, not in all applications. There might be a newer version that doesn't do it, but it depends if the people actually update their WordPress. But that's just it. Anyway, so that's just, those are small items that, again, take you from being a okay developer to that mid-senior level. Not just saying, hey, it works, I'm done, but looking at me like, is this the best way to code this? Is this the right stuff to put in, right? So take that extra second and look at me like, are these error messages good? Is my syntaxing fine? Am I doing right flow? Like we said, like, are we using the right systems for keeping things secure? Make sure we use the pool query right, that we're doing things like that. So And like I said, just something as simple as an error message. The code was valid. Just this is definitely more secure systems here, not giving that stuff away. Cool. Now time to test. So we have Cliff 1. Does anyone remember what my password was when I put it in? I make it nice and easy. Tester. Yeah. Yeah, no, I keep it very, very simple. Remember, it's Cliff1Test is the name of the email account. Cliff1Test, so the password is just tester. So let's pull open another browser. Let me make sure that the app is running. Actually, I think it was. Off. Node 1, still good. Yep, still running. No error messages. That's good. Let's pop over back over here now. So we're going to do localhost 4010. And I'm not going to do that. That's one of my other ones I'm playing with. Wait, no, we did 6010, didn't we? Yep, sorry. Yep, that's why. And we're just going to use that and then log in, because this is already our auth server. Again, just remember, we always send our stuff as JSON, so we're going to go here to headers, content type. What's our type? Application JSON, yeah. But if you type JSON, it pops up. Yeah, it's application JSON. Go to body. Make sure to click raw. And in here, remember, it's just JSON, not JavaScript. Double quotes everywhere. So username, Cliff1, password, tester. What's that? Oh, okay. I'm going to click send and see what happens. And I'm going to wait here to see if anyone get it. So we did get an error. Oh, right, I did. Yep. Good catch, yep. Try again. Hey, I got a token. Did anyone not get a token? Let's start here and see if we got any errors. What's that? All right, so how can we test if that's the problem? Let's create another user. So we can go to HTTP localhost 6010 post, same header, content type. In the body, we just need username, password, and email. That's all we need. So let's do that again. I'm going to actually log into someone else. I'm going to do Cliff2. And this is why I like doing it like this, because later on I can actually search the database for anyone with a test password and quickly find them. So anyone with a email at test.com, and just delete those test users if I need to. So this is why I do that. You know why? All right, good. Good, you're self-finding it. So I'm going to create a second account just to make sure my item works. I'm going to create a new account. Get a change, get a new item. There it is. Pop over back to the login. I'm going to switch this to Cliff2 now. Same password. Submit it. I get a token.
Can you go back to your server screen again?
This one? Okay. Ah. You need to put commas in between each key. Yep. Ah. Just to see some items, yeah. You do that, and I submit it just to see some of the error messages. I'll generate an error message on purpose. Error. We come back over here. We'll see syntax error, add an error password. If you see this kind of message, this is a SQL error. Just be aware of that. If you don't get a line number or anything like that, assume it's a SQL error, because otherwise, if it's a JavaScript error, you'll get a line number. Any guesses on it yet, or do we need to start doing some share screens?
Yeah, actually I found the error actually because we have assigned the const user equal to await full.query, and again we are assigning the user to that.
Yep, I did change that. Yeah, I did have it constant at one point, but then Milo called me out. Yeah.
I put it at that.
Yep. So, yeah. Did you save the file? Okay. Just checking. I've done that several times.
I'm just going to share screen.
I was going to have you share your screen to show us. I just stopped my screen, so. Yeah, let's take a look at your code. Again, we do team debugging here. We help each other out. This is also good to other people to see the errors and see what we get. Yeah. Let's start that. Yeah, let's create a new account just to make sure you're good there. But if you're, no matter what, you should be getting an error message. So I don't think it's the user that's a problem. Because most likely, there's your password right there. So you scroll back up. Oh, well, is that the response? Or wait, no, that's the response header. Scroll up. Don't kill that. Cancel. Scroll back up.
Scroll up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the header
So,
is
yeah. Yep. Now you're looking at the response headers down below.
yeah.
My new user.
Do we get them to the username too?
I did.
Okay, good.
From 87 to 88.
Okay, good. Hit body. So there's your new account. Good. So that worked.
Good there.
Yep. So we created the account. Let's go to the login. That's a post. That's login. You don't need the email anymore. So get rid of the email. We got BigFail88. Yep, that's the new one you just created. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Let's send it.
You have got some error over here.
And there's the comma. Yep, very good. No, it's a post. It's a post. Send it over. Now let's go to the server. So your SQL, your Visual Studio Code or whatever you're using, your terminal, which you're probably not showing your desktop because we're still looking at Postman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you seeing it now?
Nope. You didn't share your desktop. You shared the window. Yeah, you shared the app, so we can only see the one window. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, so I've got query is not defined.
Oh, because you're doing query.pool. It's not query.pool. Yeah. Yeah, that's all it takes sometimes. Yep, that'll do it. Save it. I'm surprised that's not giving you a JavaScript-based error, though. Interesting. That's inside the try-catch. Did you actually click on it again? And do you have NodeMon running?
I should break that. You got a query is not defined yet.
Well, I'm going to tell you again, you don't have NodeMon running.
Yeah, you have to kill your server and start it.
Yep. Remember if we did a yarn run server, it'll actually run NodeMon. It'll automatically restart the server each time you make a change. Don't forget about NodeMon. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, do it again. Go over to Postman. Still get an error. Pop back over to the screen. Nope, not that one. AID of undefined. Scroll down. Do database.sql? Oh, wait, why did you, I can see it. Yep. Jethro's got it right. Go ahead, Jethro. Scroll down.
48, okay,
Right
right here.
here.
User off the ID. That's
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep. There you go. That's why it's good to have a team solving the problems. Nice catch, Jethro. There it is. All right, who else has got an error? Who's next? All right, switching over. Shaylee, go for it. All right, so what is the error you're getting? You're getting invalid login. So have you created a new user yet to make sure that you got the password right? Shaylee 1, Shaylee 2, password test 2, Shaylee 2. There you go. We'll send that, make sure that works. That does create an account, so now let's go log in. Let's go back up. Yep, Shaylee 2, test 2. Well, that looks right, so probably right. Let's find out. Let's double check. Scroll down. Yep, let's go look at the code. see what's happening. So we're going to scroll up a little bit. And there. Scroll down all the way down to the bottom. I want to see the most recent one. Make sure we get the most recent. All right, so we are actually getting an error, it looks like. So scroll up a little bit. Here we go. Hold up. Too far. Go back down a little bit. A little more. Depreciation warning. Nope. Keep going. Oh, no, that's not right. Okay. Let's go back up again. It's yelling at us for auth file. Hold on.
Is the match there?
No. Not yet. So what's happening is that we are being sent one of the... it's trying acting like your unhandled promise rejection, like your catch isn't being triggered. Scroll up your code a little bit. I want to see what's going on above it. Yeah. I don't think, personally, I don't think that unhandled promise rejection isn't right. Okay, here we go. Cannot set headers after they are sent to the client. So you're doing a response dot something after it's already been run once. So you're trying to do a response after it's been responded. All right, so that's all that is. That's all that is, which is fine. That's not what we're looking for. So, oh, I see it. Anybody see it?
It's line 56, is that correct?
Not 56. 57. Right. The if statement was fine, but the response.status actually needs to be returned, line 57, because we don't want anything below line 57 being run. So 57, return, but also that 56. Oh, actually, Milo. What's wrong with line 56, actually?
So it's saying if that exists.
Right.
And back the invalid login.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, sorry, this is the mismatched
Yeah.
false condition here. So it's
Two things. Yeah.
that doesn't exist, right? If
Right.
put an exclamation point, it should be fine.
Mm-hmm. That one. Yep. We said there is no username. Right. Yeah.
It's saying if it does exist, return that error.
Right.
That error.
Mm-hmm. So what you're seeing here, before you click over, now what that says now is if no username exists, return the error. You were saying if a username exists, return an invalid login. So that was what your mistake was. But that is also going to cause a problem in a second, because now we're going to double check to make sure our errors work. So we're going to do that. Now it works. Everybody put in a bad password now. So I'm going to switch to my login. Back to my screen quick. So now we're probably going to end up switching back to Shaylee's in a second. But try putting in a bad password. Make sure you get invalid login. So on my screen you see invalid login, exactly what I wanted. The password doesn't matter, but now I'm going to put in a username that doesn't exist. So Cliff is not a valid username. I still get invalid login. So do both on your account and see if you get invalid login. On Shaylee, I'm expecting a, yeah. So if you don't get an invalid login error message, you're getting a JavaScript error message. You need to check on that.
That is what I'm getting. I'm getting a user that doesn't exist. I'm getting a JavaScript.
Yep. Let's look at your if statement there. Go ahead and share your screen quick.
So that was my question. So I've got if
Yep, switch it over. That's what you want, though. Because if length is zero, we want to return that error message. So you're getting an actual error message on your console, though. Look what it says right there. Cannot read property JSON of undefined, and it is line 46 is your problem. Does anyone see it? Parentheses. Yep, it's not an array. Status is not an array. There we go. All good. There you go. That one's done. Yep.
Try catch.
Still got an error, so let's pop over again. Now what's happening? Oh, right. Hold on. Milo, exit again. Kill the server. No, do it again. Kill it now. And can you do npm run server, please? Not server F.
I know.
There we go. This is going to save you some hassle. There you go. Right, hit the button. There you go. You're good. So what's the question, Jethro?
Yeah, I was just saying because I was getting like the untangled file projection. I was going to say if we return error or res status in the try catch this.
The reason why we were getting that is because the catch was trying to send for Shaylee. Her problem was that she was trying to send again in the catch. So there was a response, a catch, but it wasn't catching the second error inside the catch. So that's where the problem came into play. So yeah, so she did the response.status, generated an error, and then tried to do response.status again in the catch. So there was no try catch of the catch. That's why Shaylee was getting the unhandled thing. So anybody else getting an error?
I'm getting actually 200 OK response with 401. The body I'm getting just 401 somewhere.
Do you want to share?
I log in for
You're getting response status 401 with a OK though. Do you want to
200 OK.
Do you want to share the screen?
Sure.
All right. Which mistake are you doing? Is it the invalid username or the invalid password?
Invalid password.
All right, let's share it. When you do the zoom, when you see us all, yeah, okay, good. Cool. Yep,
What do you see? The code or the
I see both, Postman and code. You shared the whole desktop. You're good. So yeah, okay, you got a 401. That's weird. All right. All right, let's scroll down a bit. Yeah. Guys, that's fine. Hold on. That's fine. Scroll down more. You want to see the 401. Here it is. Response.json41.json. Click on Postman again. That looks fine at first.
Yeah.
Body. What? Hold on. That's weird. All right, go back to your code again. All right, let's go back to the code now. Response.json token. Good. Nothing there, yet no error messages. Well, you don't give it a status, it does 200. It defaults to 200 if you don't do a status. So I'm just wondering why it's sending 401 as the body. That's what's throwing me for a second here.
Isn't it res.json 41?
Yeah.
Isn't it name 41?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, yep, you got it. 64. Good catch, Jethro. Yes, yep. Good catch. There it is. All right, all good there. Go ahead and run it. Make sure. Yeah, Jethro's found two now. Woo, he's on the ball. All right, cool. So everything works there. So now I'm going to do a couple modifications to these two routes. I'm going to introduce you to how we authenticate someone, but then you're going to actually create the profile route. So how to create a profile and how to get a profile for the logged in user. So we're going to create the auth middleware to make sure we can authenticate someone. But then once we authenticate, it's up to you to then actually go through and pull the information. And that's going to be your challenge for Sunday. So you have today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday to work on it to get it working for Sunday. That makes sense? So let's do it next. We already have a table. Yeah, we've already defined that. This is all you need. You just need a first name, a last name, a URL to some image in Google, a GitHub username, the cohort number, and that's it. And these are automatic. So these are automatic and these are automatic. Well, kind of. This will be automatic. You'll need to put this in by pulling it from the auth. Like I said, we'll see how to do that because we're going to build the auth thing now. But first off, I just want to do a couple more things on the actual code there. So I want to do some small amounts of validation to help understand how to use some SQL again. So first up, in the creating a username, what is one of the problems we can run into with creating a username based on our database? Right, our username and email, right? Email and username we have to check. So we're going to actually build a SQL script to check on that for us. So, notes again. Before we do anything else, before we even do the, let's see, what do I want to do quick? How should we do this first? So, not really. In here, we haven't looked to see if an existing user already exists, have we? We just create it right away. We just straight up insert after we do the password salt. So here, before we do anything, after we get the password, we can even do it before we do the salt and password if you wanted to, but we can do it here. It's fine. We want to first check for an existing user. So let's do const existing user at, right. It's on the video. My screen capturing software is getting it. Exactly. I'll fix it in post. So you got it const, so line 24 here. So I added 2 lines there. Existing user. I'm going to do, like we've been doing the query now. We're going to actually query the database to see if the username that they're asking to use already exists, or even the email. So we want to check both. We don't want to do 2 separate queries, one for email, one for username, do we? We want to do 2 of them, and we want to make sure that either the email or the username is there. So let's do this. We're going to do await pool.query. All right, let's see if people can actually help me build this query. So how do we start it? I want to check for an existing user based on email and or username. We do have to select, yes, that'll be a select. Yeah. And we'll just do star this time, make it easy on us. We'll select star, so that's all fields. So before you keep reading more, I want to get somebody else to give me the next part of it. So select star from what? Op, good. And then someone else gives me the next. We need the where, yep. And now what's our condition? Username, yep. Username equal $1. We can do that one. But we also want to do the email, the username too. I mean the email too, right?
Yep. Over the $sign thing one more time.
Again, just a placeholder. So it's a placeholder for the values that come in later in the array. Yep. $1 is the first position in the array, so it's a little confusing and that's why I don't think it's JavaScript, because if this was a JavaScript placeholder, it would be to me $0, 1, and 2, not 1, 2, 3. So just to touch base on Isaac's, that's why I can't say for sure it's not JavaScript, but I also want to just double check. This is why I do believe it is Postgres's placeholder symbol. Anyway, yeah. So $1. But we also want to check the email. How can we add that to this? Yeah, what's or? How do we do or in SQL? Yeah, you just do or in SQL. Yeah. We can just do English there. It's fine. That's what they allow it. 2. This is the second placeholder. So a different item. Yep. Now, yes, if both of these were going to take the same value, you could do $1, 1, and the first byte item would be put in both locations. So this is just saying take the second value now. So we do that. In our brackets, we're going to do what? So Milo, can you tell me what items go in this array to help you make sure you understand the $sign symbols?
Yeah, no, it's going to be username.
Good. Yep. Yeah, so these are going to pair up in the positioning. So this is the number in the $sign is this position. The $sign says placeholder. The number says which one. Yep. Good. Okay. Good.
So in every response object, that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Yep. And every not response object, query. Every query. So every SQL query. Yeah. So, and again, I could do this. It's fine. Where I could do. That's fine. Again. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so $1 needs to be the first item in the array, $2 needs to be the second item in the array. In this case, yes, because then username would get email, and email would get the username. So, yep. Yep. No, good clarifier. Very good. All right. So now we're going to check for this. How do we know if there is an existing user? Can anyone confirm or deny the answer? Is this right? It does look nice, but unfortunately, remember, whenever we do a pool.query, our results are always in .rows. .rows, and again, we have to do the .length. If there is a length, if we found anything, there's going to be at least one item in there. So that means true. Remember, anything other than 0 is true. A length of 0 is false. So this now says if there is a length, we want to kick them back. And so we want to do a response.status. We're going to do 400 again. So that means it's like invalid. So 401 again. We'll do 401 again. Or something like that. Well, 400? Yeah, 401. I'll do 401. I'll have to look up the status codes later to remember them again. But it's not really not found. This is we found a user, but this means it's an invalid request because the user already exists. Yeah. So we can do JSON. We can do errors. And this, well, what do we want to tell them? Technically, yes, but if you tried to sign in, duplicate user, but here's the question though, what do we tell them? We want to be able to tell them whether it's the email or username, right? Right, login already exists, but what if it's just the username is wrong, but their email's fine? They're a new person, but they just picked the username that's already in existence. This could get annoying if we don't tell them what is wrong, right? Not good, right? So here's what I would do here. I'm going to check what is invalid. So I'm just going to do existing user dot rows 0 dot username will equal to username. This will let me know that the username was the problem. I'm going to use the ternary method. Ternary, username taken, or if the username doesn't match, this is the email that triggered it. And so I can do email already registered. Please log in. Does that make sense? How that works? Well, with that, yes, and mostly there it's just you do want to let the person know that that username is not available, pick another username, versus, oh, you're already a user of us, log in. You do want to let the person know. Could there be malicious users out there that can take advantage of this? Possibly. But this is also that kind of situation where you need to make sure you're not annoying your user. There's always that balance between annoying your users and making them no longer want to use your application versus giving them enough information to make sure they can use it. Could someone come in here to use this to try to figure out usernames? Yes, but that means that they would have to constantly give us emails. Now we could also switch this to do instead email, and do the reverse of this. And what this can force them to do, that if they give us an email and a valid username, so this way someone that's already registered can't use their email to try to find other usernames. So if they already have their email registered, this will kick back and say, hey, you're already registered, log in. They would have to have a different email account. And that means they registered with a different email account and found a email that wasn't a username that wasn't in use. It now creates a username and it now creates a user and invalidates that email. So this is probably the better way to make sure no one could use this in a malicious way. They would constantly have to make new email accounts to test for an existing username. And if they put in a email that isn't registered and a username that isn't taken, the email address is now taken by the username and they can't use it again. Because now from that point forward, it's always going to kick back this. Does that make sense? Cool. So this would actually be the better way to do it. Good question on that for security again. Good bringing that up. So now you can go ahead.
Yeah, what if we do just the username and email the same field, like
So
instead of putting separate username and separate email?
that is another common thing to do, but in this case, I've seen that a lot as a kind of an easy way to avoid having to do this multiple condition, and I wanted to showcase this concept of a dual condition. So it depends on how you want your system to be able to log in. I know that several banks do username login, not email login, because one of those things that benefits from, again, with banks, is you don't want to test someone's email account to see if they have an account there. So usernames are a little more secure for bank systems, and usernames, people just like usernames more anyway. Emails are easier, and you do need an easier username for someone, because if you do username and email, you have to do this, where you have to check for both and let them know, hey, yay or nay. So having the email be the username is easier for making an application, but it does require the person to type in their email, which if someone's watching over the shoulder, they can get an email account. If they're somewhere public, it's just, yeah, some people do think that using an email as a login can be risky in security, so some places don't like doing it. Yeah, it's all about keeping that email separate from who they are. Once you have it, they no longer have to enter their email in your system ever again, so that kind of keeps them from having it be something that constantly goes across the network. So that's all. That's part of it, because yeah, if you actually do log in with your username, you do send your email through the post command every single time you log into that site. So going to a public area, if there's someone sniffing the data packets, they can get that email account from it. If they're not encrypting the whole item. And there is a chance that the site you use might encrypt the password, but may not encrypt the whole package. So you got to be careful of that. And so that's why mainly I just wanted to show this whole idea of a dual uniqueness. Because I know that Dev Connector and other applications that we've used, that we've had you build, do an email as a username to make the life easier. So I just wanted to showcase how it's not actually that difficult to do a dual conditional check in the database. That's all. It was just demonstrating. Yeah. If for your application you want to use email as a login as the login username, go for it. I just wanted to show this. Last item we also need to do is over here. If we remember in our auth table, what other field do we have here that we haven't really done anything with yet? No, we've done that. That gets created automatically, and we do deal with that. Not which timestamp. Well, that's automatic, right? Yeah, this is automatic. It automatically fills in. Right. And we do log in, right? We don't track that they just logged in, did we? So we're just going to do a simple thing right here, nice and easy, nice and simple. We don't even need to capture what is returned by this one. So we're just going to do right here after we get the isMatch. So we can do it either before the payload, after the payload, wherever you want to do it. I'm going to do it right after the isMatch. We're just going to do a pool.query. We just want to update the last login. Did anyone help me create this this query? How do we modify an existing field in SQL? Does anyone remember? Update. Yeah. Update. Someone else? What are we updating? True, but where? We need the yep. We need the database first. And now we do want to change one of the rows, but how do we tell it that we want to change the rows? We update off. What's the next word? Anyone remember what it is? It's set. Yep, set, and then, yeah, set last login equal to what? Good. Yep, now with the brackets. Just use now. Yep, that's it. But just make sure again, right now, what is this going to do? What is this line going to do? Parentheses. It's a function. Yep, it's a function of SQL, of Postgres. Now this line is going to do what right now? Not just that, but who's it going to affect?
Current user.
Nope, everybody.
Oh, is it?
What are we missing? What are we missing? Yep. AID equals $1, and then our array, what are we going to put? There we go. Yep, user.aid. Remember user. There we go. And we don't need to capture the response from this. We can just let this happen asynchronously, because even if we hit the return.json before this finishes, this will still finish. This is being done by JavaScript in the background. It will do it no matter what. So we don't even have to capture or wait for this to finish. This is one of those commands we can just send to the database and let it do it and be like, I don't care when you finish it, just do it sometime. So these are one of those cool ones where it's just send that SQL over and you do it. I don't care. If you wanted to, you could check for errors. That's the only other reason we would want to capture, to see if there was something wrong with it. But this is one of those queries where I'm fairly confident that this will work fine. There's no real items that are going to be a problem in here that I can see. Because if we hit this point, we already know we found a user, and so we know we have a valid AID. So this should never be a problem because we should never hit this line there. And even then, if this was to fail, it's a good chance that our catch would then trigger, because this is still inside of a try-catch system. Sound good? Yeah. All right. Cool. Awesome. All right. Last couple things, because we're about to hit 9 o'clock. I want to finish up. Let's do the middleware. So we're going to add a middleware to our system to do the authentication that we're going to use for the profile routes. I want to build that with you, show you how to use it, and then you're going to actually build the routes though. So let's head over to here where I have my, nope, that's not there. I'm going to say here. I'm going to hit the side-by-side. This, oh, no one's actually asked me to make the code bigger, so I'm going to make it a little bigger actually, if that helps. I also don't need this, so go away. So here we're going to make a directory, mkdir, make the directory middleware. Go ahead and cd into it. I actually don't need to cd into it. I'm just going to do code middleware auth.js. And this is our auth middleware. This is our authentication middleware. Make sense? Alright, let's do that. Enter. Anyone have anything? Good, okay. That. And then from here, so we need, what is part of the auth system? What does it? Yeah, JWT. So const JWT equals require JSON web token. Yep. And what else does JSON web token use? Not bcrypt. JSON web token doesn't use bcrypt. When we signed our token, what did we need for it? We need that key again, remember? Not secret. Key equals require config default dot secret. Why doesn't it give me the ability to do it automatically? What are you doing? Okay, that was weird. Secret or key, weird. Whatever. Got that. And all we're going to do here is so we might need more, but for now this seems fine. This is JWT. If we end up, we might need the database. If we do, we'll check, but let's see what we need if we do. We'll do a module.exports and export this right away. And for middleware in Express, this might be different for Spring Boot and all that stuff, but one of those, we kind of want this to kind of interrupt the request, process this first, and either respond back denied right away or validate the token. I'm going to do module.exports equals require the request, the response, and next. And next just says to run the next thing in the chain. That could be the next middleware, or that could also just be the actual route itself. So next is just move on to the next item. Do that. Here first, we're just going to pull the token from the header. We need to get that token. We want the token to get sent in the header. So we're going to do get token from header, const token, and we're going to put that under the header of xauth token. This is a unique token that we'll use. So we're going to do request.header. We'll grab the xauth token. And just to showcase what we're doing, if I go here and I go to headers, I go here, look what happens. X, that isn't an actual header that exists by default. This is a header we're creating. And that's what's kind of cool about the HTML is that you can put your own custom headers. Cool.
Is xauth header, xauth token and bearer just like a more common?
Yeah, well, bearer is actually kind of a built-in system, bearer token. So, yeah, we'll find things like that. Anyway. Boop. Because that would actually just be authorization, like that. That's where we would put it there. So that would be the bearer token goes under the header authorization. So we're using a custom one, xauth token. Another way to kind of keep things secure and keep people guessing, because people could be sniffing for any data on the authorization line, but they might not be looking under xauth token. So kind of hides it a bit. Sound good? Cool. So we're going to do that. If we want to, you can console.log the token, make sure you get it. I'm not gonna. Let's see. Now we're going to find out, well, what if there was no token? That's an instant denial, right? So we can do that first. So if not token, you can simply do a return response. We'll do again a status 401 of an invalid request. We really weren't denied because they weren't authorized. We just didn't get a token. So they did an invalid request. This is an invalid request. They didn't send a token. Again, the common errors. And to include it, we're going to include a message of no token, authorization denied. Simple and straightforward, right? Once we've done that, we actually want to do some, we want to actually put in a try catch because JWT can throw, so we can do that. So let's go ahead and do try catch. Again, I'd like to just put stuff here first. We'll do a console.error, error.message. And here we'll do response.status. I'm going to put a 401 again, because most likely just a bad, invalid. JSON, errors, message, token is not valid. If we hit this line, it's mostly because the JWT.verify wasn't able to convert it to a valid item. And so it just kicks back invalid item. It wasn't able to convert it to a valid JSON object. And so if the token goes through, applies the secret OR key, and it doesn't get back a JSON object, it's just going to kick back invalid. So this is what the catch will do. So you don't have to actually do a test if the decoded is valid or not, or check for errors. If the verify or the validate system of JWT fails, it's just going to do a throw and throw error. All right. All right. So we're going to do const decoded. Now we want to decode that token. Does anyone happen to know what the method is for JWT to do that? Oh, it's right there. You would think decode, but we actually want to do verify because we actually have to compare it against the secret OR key. Decode just decodes it by default, so we want to use verify, token, and the secret key. Luckily, this is not a asynchronous item, so we can just do it like this. We do request dot, and what we're going to do is we're going to attach this to request.user. We're going to attach the decoded object to request.user. So when we send it to the route, if we do request.user, this will have the data inside the payload. And so we know that this will have AID and username inside of it. So we're going to be doing request.user.aid and request.user.username. This is what this is going to give us access to in the route. That makes sense? Yeah. In any of these normal routes that we had under the server file, request.user would be empty. Request.user isn't a valid key. That's not a normal item that request from Express gets. We're adding that in based on our middleware. Our middleware is adding that key now. Once we've done that, we're just good to say, hey, do the next thing in line. We're done. Right? Sound good? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And I'll also explain. I'm also going to let me do that once I add in the next bit of code for the route. So let's do this quick. What I want to do next is just do a small amount of refactoring. We're going to do an mkdir routes. I'm going to click over here and do code. Actually, let's do touch because I want to create two items: routes user.js and routes profile.js. I probably should be users and profiles, but it's fine. We'll make two files. we're going to quickly do code.user.js, oh, sorry, routes, user.js. And all we're going to do here is we're just going to take those two routes we just put into our server.js. We're going to extract them by cutting them. Get it all. Bring it over here and paste it in. And I'm just going to update my R details to say slash, I'm going to do actual API slash users, or users, that's way better. And then here again, slash API slash users slash login, that is slash, makes sense. The last thing we're going to change quick is we're going to do const express equals, no, actually we can just do this over here. No, we'll do it here. Express equals require. So everyone should realize I'm making a router now. Express const router equals require, oh no, sorry, express.router. And that's why it's not giving me the automatic, because I didn't do that. And over here you notice that these four things all got turned off because the server doesn't use them. Our user.js uses them, so we're just going to copy these cut lines 4, 5, 6, and 7 and bring them over here. Last thing to change is the two references to app. We're going to just change them to router. That was line 11 and line 52. Does anyone know the last thing I need to do that I haven't done yet to make it available for server? Yeah, module.exports, router. So again, all I did was take all the two routes that we had in server.js, brought it over to user.js, brought in these two, and then cut and paste the other four items that we had. I just changed the two references from app to router and modified my R details. To now fix it to make sure that this still works, we're going to do const users equals require slash routes slash user. We'll do app.use slash API slash users. Damn it. Oh, I didn't save this yet. Save. There we go. No. Oh, right. Sorry. Line 4, 2 dots. That was yours. Yeah, mine is routes. My error was line 4 of the user.js. I needed to do .db and .config. So .dot. So lines 4 and 6. No worries. If you need me to slow down a bit or you need to catch up a little bit, let me know. I'll slow down. All right. Get that. All right. Well, I'll keep the user.js file over here on the right. And now we're going to start working on the profile file. Code routes slash profile. So in here, we're going to do some similar stuff. We're going to bring in express again. So const router equals express.router. Are we doing any sort of encryption stuff here? Are we encrypting any data that we think of? Or is that really only for passwords? In other words, do I need bcrypt and JWT? Anybody, yes or no? Yeah, that was used for passwords and for authentication. And we know that JWT is going to be used in that off middleware we just created, so we don't need that. Probably don't need that either. We just need to we're just going to get the token from the request. Are we going to do database stuff? In the profiles, we're going to do stuff with the database? So yeah, let's bring in the pool. Yeah, let's bring in the pool. And you know, if we realize we need any of those other packages, we can bring them in. We do know we're going to have protected routes here, so let's go ahead and bring in const auth equals require middleware slash auth. I'm going to bring that in. So we are going to have some protected routes here. First thing I'm going to do is just show you the two routes you're going to be doing. So our details, do a post of profiles slash, and that's it. And what is this route going to be? Sorry, what?
That login route is in user.
Yes, both routes. Yep. No worries. I'll scroll down if you need it. Make sure you see it. See, there it is. So post API profiles, what is this route going to be used for? We use post to get. It's a post profiles root route. Right, we're going to add we're going to register a new profile. Register profile to logged in user. And so what kind of access does this have? Yeah, only the user can access this route. So this will be a private route. You need to be authenticated to use this route. So router.post, and to do that, we're going to do /auth. That's it. We just put auth in, no parentheses, no nothing. We're just telling it, hey, once you validated that this is the route to use, run the auth middleware, and after the auth middleware, now we're going to do the rec res here. And the only thing I'm going to showcase for you guys is this response.json request.user. So that's all I'm going to showcase, that we got the auth to work. So let people kind of catch up a bit. While that happens, actually, let me just do this quick. So our details, get it, and profiles self. And so what is this going to do? Get profile data of what? Any guess? What is this route going to do? Right, get profile data of the logged in user. What kind of route would this be? The private one. All right, so save that. So those are going to be the two routes you're going to be challenged to make for Sunday. You're going to finish this one up so that you actually register the profile based on what you see here. Again, there's not much data here, and everything you need is inside the user files. There's no new code or anything like that. I'm not asking for any validation right now, so don't worry about validating the fields or testing if they're there or not. Assume that whoever's going to submit the files, it's all validated already. That maybe we put in a middleware, a auth middleware, or a validation middleware in. The route should not be in charge of validating. What we most likely do is we would create another middleware called validate profile that we could then call in here to validate the data first and either kickback or not. By the time we hit this point, the data should be good, and all this item should do is do what it says here. This says register profile logged user. This says nothing about validating the data, does it? Exactly. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. That's, again, sort of separation of concerns. Find those ways. So even JavaScript can do that. JavaScript itself can even do separation of concern and have other things run to do it. So I'm not asking you to make the validator, just saying don't do it here. So make this route. You can do the validator on your own time if you want. We're not going to make a validator, but just we could follow the auth syntax and make another middleware to do the validation if we wanted to later in the future when we're ready to add that system in there. That would be on our backlog and our user stories and stuff. All right?
Can you go back to server.json?
Yep.
People or not, but
Here we go, server.js. And so the last, well, actually I was going to go to this file anyway, because now I need to bring profile.js over. So I'm going to do module.exports, router. Over here we're going to do const profiles equals require routes profile app.use API/profiles. And does that save? Nope, it doesn't like me right now. Hold on. Which one did it not like? Oh, I didn't save yet. There we go. All right, does anyone need any other code to be open so you can see it and make sure you got it right? Yep. But again, yes. And again, the video will also go up too, so you'll be able to do the code along again if you did find you lost something, it didn't work right, and you want to review it. So if you realize, like, you know what, I'm actually not understanding this, like if you realize later afterwards, you're like, I actually don't know what happened here, you can always go back and watch these videos at any time. Now that we have two, they're in a playlist, and I will make sure that the playlist on YouTube will be posted in the classroom, so you can watch all the videos at any time. So that's definitely for you, Matt, and I don't know if you're still there or not, but you seem to be, but your video went off. So. I don't know if he stepped away for a second. So now we're going to just test to see if everything still works. To know if it worked, based on the refactoring we did, all we need to do to change here on login is do API/users login. I'm going to update my body back to Cliff1. I'll send that in. I did get an error. So let's see. Oh, I didn't do the right URL. Users/login. That. I still get a token. So do make sure that your refactoring worked. If you did lose anything, let me know. So what was I saying? Oh, there's Matt. He's back. I noticed that you went blank, so I was like, oh, you probably stepped away for a second. I was mentioning that both videos are going to be on a playlist in the Google Classroom. So you're able to click on it and watch both videos. So these right from the start on Monday. Good. Yeah, awesome. So we got that. And now what I want to do is just showcase, so let me grab this token, how you can do it. So now I also want to make sure you're clear on how to do the auth. So new tab, localhost 6010, API/profiles with a slash. We're going to do a post request. In our headers, we need to still have we need one header still. There's still one header we definitely need. What's that? Yep. There's that one. And then the other one is, of course, the XAuth token. This one needs to be the JSON. This one needs to be pasted in key that I got from the login screen. And the body, I'm just going to send first name for now, even though it's not going to matter. Cliff1, because this is Cliff1's user. Hit send. Let's see, fingers crossed. As you can see, that is the data we got from our payload. IAT is automatically created by the JSON Web Token. That was when the token was instantiated at. That's what that stands for. So yeah, this is, well, not the token. This is just when the token was created. Oh, right. Yeah, right there. Yep. That's what you get back right now. What we're getting back right now, like I said, is that JSON Web Token response. So that's what comes under request.user based on our middleware. Whew. Any questions, any errors, anything we need to review before we end? No worries. I think we actually got exactly 2 hours of code in, so I'm happy with that. Oh no, yeah, we did some debugging, right? But even then, trying to keep it where we don't focus too much on the simple JavaScript, we do spend enough time understanding what's happening. Again, this lesson is not to teach you JavaScript. The goal of this lesson is to showcase the microservices. As soon as these routes are done, we're actually going to start implementing the gateway. These last two routes are the last thing in the way for this microservice. Could we do more with profiles? Yes, we could do an edit profile route. We could do a get all profiles route, but that's going to come later if we need to. Right now with these routes, we have just enough to make the authorization service functional, and now we can start building out the gateway on Sunday. So those of you who've been like, we're not really doing microservice stuff yet, or microservice architecture yet, Sunday is our first exploration into having a gateway communicate with another service and then respond back to the Postgres system. So Postman will ask the gateway to do the login, to do the registration, to add the profile, and to pull the profile. But the gateway will then ask the authentication microservice to do that stuff. The authentication microservice will respond back to the gateway, and then the gateway will respond back to us. And so we'll finally see the concept of the microservice on Monday. Yep. Of course. When you do that, status let's get checkout -b. Routes. Hold on, my code doesn't look right now. All right. So those of you just saw what I did. I did a couple things to help you out. So at the end of every lesson, I'm going to make a branch that is the end code of that lesson, and technically the starter code for the next lesson. So the branch of routes is always going to be the starter code for lesson 3 for the videos. So that'll be that. It's always this code to start. So if you ever wanted to, so in the future, if you ever wanted to rewatch video 3, you would start from this route. Whenever you want us to do this lesson we just did, you can use the day 1 branch that I just sent to GitHub. So day 1 branch is the code when we started coding today. Sound good? So that was the code we started with when we first opened up the code and first started. That is the day 1 code, so you can pull that if you want to start there. If you want to start from the beginning of day 1's lesson, just don't pull anything. So just do get in it. So that's that. So yep, the code is there, so you can compare your finished code with my finished code. You do not want to copy my code at any moment. And like I said, from today to Sunday, if you run into problems, I preferably do not want to see questions on Sunday. You want to ask questions before then. What I really want to see is that everyone has this done by Saturday, really. Sunday is the day if you just kind of like rewatch it, review it, and be like, do I understand everything we did again? Can I talk about it? Can I review it in a technical way? Sunday should really be the day you review the code you wrote, not the day you get the help. It's like, oh crap, we're about to start class. I need to get everything fixed. Does that make sense? So if you're running into errors, ask them right away. If you're not getting responses from classmates, you can then ping me. So if I need to, I'll pop into the channel and do an @channel. And then if we still don't get help, I can give you the help, and then we can talk. I can yell at everybody else in the group on Sunday. So if you don't have Career Prep's channel marked as all notifications, I highly recommend that be one of the channels you do set for that. That way you can be part of the help, because you definitely want to be the person. If you want help, you want the others having the notifications enabled. But if you're not going to do it yourself, why should they do it? So that's kind of the mentality you should have. If you want to make sure that you can get help, so in other words, you should also be ready to give help too. So that's kind of how that's the only way we're going to get people to help each other is if everyone has that mentality of, well, if I want help, I know that they need to have push notifications enabled, so I should have them too. Sound good? All right. Any questions before we finish up?
Yeah, can I
Yes.
around afterwards. I'm just getting a 404 on the accountable, and I just want to see what happens.
Do you want to share it quick, and anyone who can stay can stay, anyone who has to go can go? Arnell, are you still here? Do you want to say anything before everybody leaves, or are you good? So we're pretty much done. I knew his icon's here. Didn't want to end it. Wrap up.
Yeah, I'm also leaving. See you. Bye.
Right. Share your screen, Milo. Yeah, he actually left. Okay. Arnell did actually leave. Okay, stopping my share so you can share yours.
404 when I ported everything over.
Yep, no worries. Take a quick peek. If I don't see it quick, we can always have you just watch the video too, so don't forget. So what's happening? So no runtime messages, nothing, it doesn't see anything bad with the code, so that's good. So it's saying can't post slash, and you're trying to do the normal localhost. And remember, that route no longer exists. The normal login, the normal registration route now exists on /API/users. Mm-hmm. This is now the registration route now. And /login too, but right with what you have in the body, this is you trying to register. So click it now. Yep, that one worked. And so same thing with the login. Now you just change the body to just username and password. There you go. Send that. Actually, that's a really good habit to have. The command as control as short habit is good for work. It can be a little when you're using something that can't. And then again, the profile routes you're doing, it'll be /API/profiles, and then whatever you put in the router.
Yeah, I think with a couple of minutes, I'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, it's all good. Good. All right, everybody. Again, I'll be putting up so I'm going to put it in the Slack actually because there are a lot of people left, but there'll be an assignment so you can submit when you have everything working again when you're ready to go. Cool.
It's the strong likelihood that I'm doing a challenge tomorrow.